Nestled in the heart of an isolated town, an ominous structure looms. It casts its long, dark shadow over the crumbling rooftops, instilling a sense of dread in those who dare to glance its way. The abandoned asylum. Towering over the adjacent structures, its ghostly facade radiates a palpable aura of despair and desolation. Its windows, the vacant eyes of a long-forgotten specter, stare blankly into the nothingness. Their once clear panes now shattered and covered with decades of grime, thick spiderwebs and dust. These ghostly eyes hold stories, terrifying tales of each weather-worn brick, each one narrating a saga of abandonment and decay. Hidden from the world and concealed behind a veil of wild vine and moss, the grand entrance of the asylum stands impressively. The once magnificent oak doors are now decayed, rotting, and weather-beaten, moaning eerily in the cold breeze that sings through the overgrown courtyard. They are the silent witnesses to the asylum's haunting past, gatekeepers of the tragic secrets of the countless souls who once crossed their threshold, never to return. Bathed in the faded glory of its foregone era, the asylum's history is steeped in countless tales of spectral sightings and chilling whispers. Stories of doctors driven to the brink of insanity by the incessant phantom cries of their patients echo through the corridors. Tales of nurses who vanished without a trace, and of patients found lifeless with expressions of unspeakable terror etched on their faces linger in the air. Each story, more horrifying than the last, adds a deeper layer of mystery to this forsaken institution. Tonight, however, amidst the ghostly stillness, the asylum is not entirely deserted. A band of courageous urban explorers, fueled by a potent mix of insatiable curiosity and adrenaline, are preparing to unravel its secrets. Armed with high-resolution cameras, potent torches, and a sea of courage, their hearts pound with a mixture of exhilarating excitement and crippling fear. They've heard the whispered rumors, read the spine-chilling accounts of the asylum's haunted past. Yet, they're undeterred. They're here to uncover the truth, to penetrate the thick cloak of superstition and fear that envelops this decaying edifice. The explorers disembark from their vehicles under the shadowy veil of the night, their heavy footsteps echoing eerily in the deserted street, the sound reverberating off the desolate buildings. The sound seems to awaken the sleeping monstrosity, the asylum seeming to stir from its slumber with a chilling energy. The wind picks up, rustling the dead leaves and adding to the chorus of spectral whispers that seem to emanate from the ground itself. Undaunted by the spine-chilling tales associated with this forsaken institution, they step into the asylum, their torches tearing through the inevitable darkness. Their breaths hitch as they glance around, unaware of the horrifying horrors that await them in the belly of this haunted beast. As the explorers step into the forsaken asylum, they are stepping into a dark past. A past filled with haunting tales of despair, torment, and death. The walls around them are not just made of bricks and mortar, but they are the silent keepers of a grim history, a testament to the countless souls that once dwelled within these confines. The asylum, in its heyday, was a bustling hub of activity, a sanctuary for the mentally afflicted. It was home to hundreds of patients, each with their own tale of suffering. The explorers, their torches cutting through the suffocating darkness, begin to pick up remnants of these stories. Faded photographs, time-worn medical files, and ancient therapeutic equipment lie scattered around, each piece narrating a chapter of the asylum's dark history. They uncover tales of patients who were subjected to harsh and often inhumane treatments. Electroconvulsive therapy, lobotomies, and isolation chambers were the order of the day. The explorers can almost hear the echoes of their anguished screams, their pleas for mercy falling on deaf ears. As they delve deeper, they stumble upon a chilling discovery, a graveyard of unmarked graves. These are the final resting places of patients who met untimely, often mysterious ends. The explorers can't shake off the feeling that these souls never left the asylum, their spirits forever trapped within its walls. The asylum's closure marked the end of an era, but instead of offering closure, it birthed an eerie legend. The structure was left to rot, its corridors growing silent, its rooms turning into crypts of forgotten memories. The asylum's transformation into an abandoned, haunted structure was complete. As the explorers navigate through the labyrinth of the asylum's dark past, they realize they are walking through the corridors of history. Each step they take echoes with the cries of the past, the chilling tales of suffering and death becoming increasingly palpable. They are not just explorers anymore, they are witnesses to a haunting history, a grim narrative that continues to unfold around them. The explorers, armed with nothing but a flickering flashlight and their waning courage, venture deeper into the asylum's heart. The chilling echoes of their footsteps bounce off the peeling, grimy walls, each echo piercing the suffocating silence. This once bustling refuge, now reduced to a melancholic relic, whispers spectral tales from its forgotten past. Each step taken within the hollowed-out halls feels like an unwelcome intrusion into the dwelling of the unseen. Roaming the labyrinthine corridors, which were once pulsating with life, they tread upon decaying floorboards. These silent pathways, now standing in their decay, are the silent witnesses of the asylum's haunting history. As they navigate through this intricate maze, their initial thrill slowly morphs into a gnawing unease, continuously nibbling at their dwindling courage. The silence, a constant companion, is intermittently punctuated by eerie, unexplained noises that emerge from the asylum's darkest corners. These unsettling sounds, their origins shrouded, ripple through the cold air. Each noise seems to be a ghostly whisper, or perhaps a spectral scream, from the asylum's long-forgotten residents. Suddenly, fleeting shadows start their twisted dance on the decaying walls, their movements painting a tableau of dread. The explorers can't shake off the feeling that are playing a ghastly trick on them, or perhaps the shadows are unmasking truths buried within the asylum's walls. The atmosphere around them grows denser, colder, as if the very air they breathe is laden with spectral remnants. An icy wave of chills slithers down their spines, causing an involuntary shudder. Their bravado, once their faithful shield, seems to be eroding, leaving them teetering on the precipice of unbridled fear. Every crevice, every darkened corner of the asylum seems steeped in its haunting history. The explorers feel the structure breathe alongside them, almost as if resonating with the spectral entities that may inhabit it. The tension escalates, their heartbeats drumming a funeral march in the eerie silence. The asylum, a crumbling monument shrouded in dread, seems to pulsate with an ominous energy, thriving off their escalating fear. The deafening rhythm of their pulses becomes the sinister soundtrack audacious journey. This former haven, a resting place of forgotten souls, seems to feast on their terror, almost taking perverse pleasure in the fear it sows. As they stumble upon a chilling discovery, a room with its door ominously ajar, a malevolent sense of dread seeps from its depths, forcing their hearts into their throats. With a deep breath, they gather their waning courage and push against the heavy, ancient wooden door, the groan of its rusty hinges echoing in the stillness. Their hearts pound in unison, a wild, frenetic drumbeat that fills the deafening silence, each beat a testament to the fear that courses through their veins. As they step over the threshold, a palpable sense of foreboding clings to the air like a dark shroud, the weight of the unknown pressing down on them as dreadfully as the oppressive stone ceiling of the room. The room itself is a world frozen in time, untouched and cloaked in shadows. It's a panorama of cryptic symbols etched onto the cold stone walls, and an eerie silence that seems to have swallowed the decades. As they venture deeper, a chilling, ethereal presence pervades, weaving through the room, whispering in the crevices and hiding in the corners. The air grows dense and cold, saturated with fear and anticipation that fogs their thoughts and chills their spines. Driven by an inexhaustible thirst for knowledge, the explorers push onward, yet an icy fear grips them, a gut-churning dread creeping up their spines, a sensation akin to a spider delicately crawling up a thread. It's a horrid whisper of the unseen terror they've unwittingly awakened, a monstrous beast lying dormant within the room's inky shadows. Their minds take flight, painting grotesque images of what could be lurking in the forgotten corners, barely visible in the wavering torchlight. The suspense builds, a crescendo of terror that freezes them in place. Their muscles become rigid, their breath hitching in their throats. A symphony of horror starts to play, echoing off the stone walls and amplifying their fear tenfold. Suddenly, without warning, their torches flicker, the light dancing in a final desperate ballet, before gasping its last breath. The room plunges into a horrifying abyss of darkness, a relentless blackness that swallows their sight. Then comes the silence. A silence so profound it's deafening, stretching on endlessly, disturbed only by the sound of their ragged breaths echoing ominously. What happened to the explorers? No one knows. Their fate remains a mystery, swallowed by the shadows they dared to challenge, and perhaps no one ever will. As the dust settles in the aftermath of the darkness and silence, a chilling truth begins to emerge from the shadows. The explorers, once brave and fearless, are now nothing more than whispers on the wind, their names etched into the annals of the asylum's dark history. Their fate, a tragic end that serves as a stark reminder of the horrors that lie within the asylum's stone walls. The mystery of their demise, much like the asylum itself, remains shrouded in secrecy, a puzzle with pieces lost to time. The town's reaction to the explorers' disappearance was a mix of horror and disbelief. The local authorities launched exhaustive investigations, their efforts echoing through the hollow corridors of the abandoned asylum. Yet the more they searched, the more unanswered questions they found. The asylum, it seemed, was intent on keeping its secrets well guarded.